Greetings, greetings, family. We are live. Sister Shanice in the house. Welcome, welcome. It is Wednesday. It is Ujamaa Day. And we are now streaming live and direct to you, the wonderful, awesome, fantastic, blacktastic family. Absolute pleasure to have you in the house. Please put the word out, let everyone know that we are live. Family, I didn't know if I was going to be able to go live today, to be honest. Further restrictions on the account, but you know how it is. If I'm not live at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, it's for a very, very good reason. And it's because, you know, I've been prevented from coming live. But do know that I do have a sister channel now. So please make sure that you subscribe to that one so that I can get the numbers up and go live over there if I can't go live here. And for those of you who don't know what that channel is, the name of the channel is African World Affairs. African World Affairs. And so we are live, sis. As you can see, we've got Sister Kai and Brother Ldr Mbandaka in the house preparing to come live to us. So let me just put them in the waiting room while they prepare themselves. So, yeah, go over to the sister channel and subscribe, family. It is called African World Affairs. Certainly look forward to you joining me over there on the occasions when I'm unable to go live here. So we've got another really interesting show lined up for you today. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, as you see, he's preparing to come live. He's got very limited time today. So we're going to be going straight over to him as soon as he's ready. We're going to be talking about Kwanzaa. Yes, it's Kwanzaa time. So we're going to be talking about Kwanzaa. And also, afterwards, we've got our brother Teacha Mitree joining us as well. So just letting the family know that they should let me know when they are ready. And we can bring them straight into the house. Yeah, so family, really excited about what I've got lined up for you. Oh, my days. I am so, so honored, family. I'm developing a wonderful blacktastic program with none other than Dr. Winters. We are going to be unlocking some hidden chapters of British Black history. There are many of us, family, who are totally unaware of the extent to which we have some deep roots in Britain. Yes, so we're going to be revolutionizing your understanding of Black history, and we are bringing a pioneering, transformational program, a study program, and it's going to be starting on the 3rd week of July. I'm going to bring you more information about that during the show. So make sure that you have your pens ready to make a note. Let's see if Ldr Mbandaka is ready for us now to join us front of house. And just logging him on. No, not quite ready yet. Okay, let's put them back in the waiting room. Oh, you ready, Leader?
Yes, I am.
Wow,
I was sitting here waiting, and I just stole a moment quickly to grab a piece of paper.
And then that's when I bring you live.
That's when you come in. That's when you come in.
I know how busy you and Sister Kai always are. So, you know, but one thing I also know is that you're so reliable as well. If you say you're coming, you come. It might be 1 minute before the top of the hour or 1 minute afterwards, but you come skating in. Thank you.
And might I add, busy but blessed.
Yes, indeed.
Busy but blessed.
And so are we, you know, to be able to have you live on this show today, to share with us what Kwanzaa is all about. I know many may know, but I'm sure there is still many that don't know. But before we go into Kwanzaa, let me ask you to open today's session with one of your beautiful spiritual openings.
Tendai Mwari. Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Mwari Mukurukuru, Mwari Mukurukuru, Mwari Mukurukuru, Kuzai, Muzimu Mukuru, Kuzai, Muzimu Mukuru, Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Mwari kumbore rai Africa ngai sumuzirezi tarayo nzwai mtero yedu isumuriayo itumuriako uyamoya kumborere uyamoya muzbene isumuriayo itumuriako tendai mwari Mwari Jack, God bless Africa. Lift up the name of Africa on high. Hear our humble prayers, O Mwari, O Jah. We, the family of Africa, we, this family of Africa. Come, Great Spirit, come. Come and bless us. Come, Great Spirit, come. Come and be with us. We, the family of Africa. We, this family of Africa. Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari. Just to very quickly just explain, when I say Tendai Mwari in the Shona language of Zimbabwe, which is the spiritual language of the Alkabulan Revivalist movement, it means be thankful unto God, be thankful unto the Supreme Being. When we say Mwari Mukurukuru, we mean the Supreme Being. Mwari is the greatest above all greats. When we say Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru, we say give praises unto our ancestors. Give praises unto our ancestors. We evoke the spirits of our ancestors. And when we say Mudzimu Mukuru, when we say Mudzimu, it's the ancestors. Mukuru says great ancestors. So it's not just any one who was any African who has died and gone on, but those who have done good things, those who have done great things, those are the great and wonderful spirits that we call up on. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Beautiful, beautiful. And, we call on those spirits, don't we? Because we want them to bring us divine revelations about what we can do in this physical realm. We were having a bit of a discussion on my radio show earlier today about how religious, generally we are as Africans, a vast majority of our people have either subscribed to the Arab religion, and so they've taken on the Arab culture, or they've subscribed to the Christian religion, so taken on the Christian culture, and, left behind, our African identity, which is where we used to have that commonality and be able to come together in all power and all greatness. But now we're torn, now we're split, now we're divided, now we're not, unified in that oneness as Africans. We've lost our ability really to a large extent to be the great ones that we have the potential to be. And so what's beautiful about what I heard there in your opening is, that we were calling on the great ancestors. Why? So that they can give us a divine revelation and inspiration to do. Not just to pray, not just to look for a third party to come and save us, not looking to the sky for some, body to jump out and come and do for us what we have the ability to do for self.
Absolutely.
And so, I love that one, calling on the great ones as well, so that we can do great things.
Absolutely.
Wow, I hope you feel empowered, family. I'm feeling empowered by that opening.
Word, sound, and power. Word, sound, and power. And we not only do we evoke their spirits to inspire us, but we are inviting them to imbibe our whole beings, to possess our minds, our bodies, and our souls, so that we may walk their walk again. We may talk their talk again. We may see their vision again. We may be their reincarnation. So that we may fulfill their vision, their great inspirational vision. So that is the ultimately, when we call upon the ancestors, we are opening ourselves, mind, body, and spirit for the ancestors to inhabit our beings, so that we can become the fulfillment of their great vision. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, absolutely, because you know they have experiences that they've already had experiences. They've already
That's
learned,
right.
haven't they, a lot. And if we can learn from their experiences and you know, listen to them and avoid some of maybe the mistakes or the pitfalls, you know, that they fell into, just imagine
Absolutely.
it's like them passing the baton to us, isn't it? And us
Yes.
continuing the race for
Yeah.
our race.
Yes.
Wow. It's
We become
powerful.
the vessel through which our ancestors continue to impact creation, impact the world in which we live. We become the conduit through which the ancestors can continue to have an impact on the world. So, you know, so we're opening ourselves to that purpose. It's a powerful, powerful thing. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, it is indeed. Family, as you come through the door, do let us know that you are in the house. Rise us up in the chat. Let me look on my phone and see, you know, if we've got some of the family members in the house. I'm sure we do have. And as I was saying just before you came on, Brother Ldr Mbandaka, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to go live today, but, you know, believing that I would be, you know, I am indeed live. They've imposed more restrictions on my channel. And I don't know the full extent of what that means, but, you know, pushing on. But I've got a sister channel and asking everybody to just sign up to that channel so that, you know, if I can't go live on this channel, then, you know, you can catch me on the other channel. So please let everybody know that we're live. We are going to be learning today what Kwanzaa is all about. And we're going to be celebrating Kwanzaa. Let's have a look. Yes, I can see some of the family members are indeed in the chat. I need to go and get my glasses so that I can read it on the phone. But rise up, family. Great to have you in the house. Happy Kwanzaa. We are almost in Kwanzaa time. Brother Ldr Mbandaka, Kwanzaa time. What does that mean?
Well, Kwanzaa, the word Kwanzaa comes from the Kiswahili language. In fact, the Kiswahili language of Eastern Africa, East Central Africa, is the language of Kwanzaa. And the word Kwanzaa, Kwanza, with the one A at the end, simply means first. But when we say Kwanzaa with the extra A, we're talking about a celebration, a 7-day Pan-African festive celebration from the 26th of December to the 1st of January. And it is the celebration of our African culture, our African community, and the African family. So the African family, the African community, the African culture is what we are celebrating over those 7 days of Kwanzaa. The word Kwanzaa, as I said, means first. In the context of the celebration of Kwanzaa, it means first fruits of the harvest. And it is based upon authentic African harvest celebrations and observances across the African continent. We have celebrations where the first fruits, which is the first evidence of the success of our hard labor, planting and nurturing the soil and the food and cultivating, harvesting that food. The first crops are always celebrated. Now, Kwanzaa, however, is not confined to the celebration of the harvest as in food, but it is a celebration of the harvesting of all of our creative and productive achievements. So whatever it is that we achieve as a people is what we celebrate during Kwanzaa. So we must be able to qualify and quantify what we have achieved over the last 358 days of practicing and living the Unguzo Saba. The Unguzo Saba are 7 life principles, and each day of Kwanzaa represents one of the principles of the Unguzo Saba. The 7 life principles are Umoja, unity; Kujichagulia, self-determination; Ujima, collective work and responsibility; Ujamaa, cooperative economics; Nia, purpose; Kuumba, creativity; and Imani, faith. And the US organization of the United States, which dwells in the United States of America, under the leadership and the inspiration of Baba Maulana Karenga in the 1960s, the revolutionary 1960s, when African people were rising up and throwing off the yoke of oppression, exploitation, and degradation. This organization had an insight into our oppression as a people, a very unique insight, a very important insight. And that insight was that the key crisis in Black life, the key crisis in the lives of African people is the culture crisis, a crisis of views, a crisis of values, a crisis of vision, because we had imposed upon us alien culture, alien traditions, alien customs, which confuse our sense of ourselves, our sense of our realities, and therefore our sense of values, our sense of vision, to the point that we made decisions, we engage in thought processes and behavior that was self-destructive. We behave in ways, or we engage in thought processes and behaviors that empowered the people who oppressed us. We practice their religion. We celebrate their holidays that are designed to empower them, not and to disempower us. So they sought to correct that. And they did a powerful and beautiful thing. What did they do? Like yourself, my dear sister. They traveled to the motherland. What else are you going to do? They traveled to the motherland to study the cultural traditions of Africa, to get into the heads and the hearts and the souls and the minds of our beautiful brothers and sisters on the African continent, living an authentic African way of life. They went into villages, they went into the rural areas to see how our people live, to see what and how our people celebrated their existence, their being, their lives. And from what they gathered from studying a range of indigenous nations in Africa, or indigenous traditions in Africa, they distilled their learning into this celebration that we call Kwanzaa. So Kwanzaa is a distillation of what they observed on the African continent in terms of how we engage in celebrations on the African continent. And they brought it back to the United States of America in 1966 was the first Kwanzaa celebration in the United States of America. And that from there, over a period of time, began to mushroom, and more Africans in the United States began celebrating Kwanzaa until it connected it with Africans outside of the United States, including Africa, UK. We, the Africans domiciled here in the United Kingdom. And we took that on in the 1970s. An organization called ASHWA, the African Caribbean, the meaning of each letter slips me at the moment, but I'll come back to
Society, maybe, for the S?
Yeah.
Society.
Yes, I'll come back. I'll come back to that.
Yes.
Then the Pan-African Congress Movement, which is an organization that was born out of ASHWA, also took up the celebration of Kwanzaa. And in fact, the Alkabulan Revivalist Movement, my organization, learned about Kwanzaa through the Pan-African Congress Movement. And so since the 1970s, I think the major event of the Pan-African Congress Movement was in a powerful event in 1980, Kwanzaa celebration. And I think that's where it really took off from here in the United Kingdom. And so since then, every year we've had Kwanzaa celebrations here in Africa, UK. And it's been the case, at least for the last decade or so, that at least 40 million African people worldwide celebrate Kwanzaa from the 26th of December to the 1st of January every year. That means 40 million African people are gathered around our African shrine and are synchronized in our cultural focus and our spiritual focus. That's a powerful thing. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. It is indeed very powerful. Wow. And you're right, you know, as you was talking about how we as a people have largely been taken over, our culture has been taken over and we've been consumed with the alien culture. It goes back to what I was touching on earlier about the alien cultures that we've adopted through other people's religions as well. And those alien cultures have got us praying and praying and praying from morning till night, from morning next day to night again, from morning to, I'm praying, I pray and I pray, and don't leave no time for do anything. Whereas the principles that you just presented to us there about, you know, the Kwanzaa principles is all about us doing, you know, collectively, in unity, and using our creativity and pulling our economics together. It's about doing. And if we were to practice that, you know, every single day, as you say, 365 days of the year, on all the year round, wow, imagine where we would be as a people. It's phenomenally powerful potentially. And to think, what was that, 40 million people now practicing Kwanzaa? Wow, it's great. This is a new day, isn't it? A new day. Carry on, leader. I'm just going to get my glasses so I can read some of these messages as well. Please continue.
Tendai Mwari, yes, beloved brothers and sisters. And during Kwanzaa, we have special greetings, beloved brothers and sisters, that we share with each other when we see each other. Greetings like Kwanzaa yenu iwe na heri. I just love to utter African words. I just love, brothers and sisters, to learn the expressions in the language of our ancestors, no matter how imperfectly I emulate these words. It's like a baby learning to speak. You hear it and you repeat it to the best of your ability. And when we say Kwanzaa yenu iwe na heri, we're saying have a happy or have a fruitful Kwanzaa, have a happy and fruitful Kwanzaa. And the response is hooray, 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 happiness, fruitfulness, return. We reinforce the concept of happiness and fruitfulness in the powerful word hooray. We may say habarigani. That's another Kwanzaa greeting. Habarigani. And during the 7 days of Kwanzaa, habarigani means what is the news? It is a Kiswahili greeting, meaning what is the news of the day? What's the most important? What's going on? That's back home we say wagwan. Yeah? Yeah. Wagwan. Some people say wagwan. And the answer is the principle of the day. We reinforce that the principle of the day is the most important thing that's happening. So on the first day of Kwanzaa, if you say habarigani, the response is Umoja, which means unity. On the second day of Kwanzaa, you say habarigani, it's Kujichagulia, meaning self-determination. Third day, Ujima, cooperative economics. Fourth day, Ujamaa, third day, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Fourth day, Ujamaa, cooperative, or some of us say Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Fifth day, Nia, purpose. Sixth day, Kuumba, creativity. Seventh day, Imani, faith. During this period of what we call the pre-Kwanzaa season, that's the period leading up to Kwanzaa, and we within the Alkabulan Revivalist Movement hasten to impress upon our people that this period is as important as the 7 day itself. And we must seize this period, the pre-Kwanzaa period, to Kwanzaa-rise our home, Kwanzaa-rise our minds and our spirits, Kwanzaa-rise our community. This is a time when we should be anticipating our 7 day festivity and preparing at home, preparing in the community, preparing in our minds, in our souls for a wonderful and powerful, fruitful celebration at the end of the year. So we must seize this time, seize this moment. We rather like other people do in their pre-whatever period, beloved brothers and sisters. So in our homes, we should now be putting up decorations with the children, and children are central to the celebration of Kwanzaa. Let it be known that our children are central to the celebration of Kwanzaa. And so we should engage them in preparing the home, putting decorations up, preparing the shrine for our celebrations, doing the shopping, getting the food in the home for the celebration of Kwanzaa. Get them involved, beloved brothers and sisters. And in the process of getting them involved, we are teaching them responsibility. We're giving them responsibility. We're teaching them responsibility. We're helping to nurture their growth and their development, and we are grounding them in their culture. The children love it. Children love to be involved in what parents are doing. And that's how we imbibe or we instill that love in them for all things African. Because through the Kwanzaa celebration, they get noticed, they get reinforced, they get rewarded. Children, you open them up, brothers and sisters, when you notice them in a positive way. You positively reinforce them. So Kwanzaa gives us the opportunity to do that. Let me say something very quickly about this. There are 7 symbols of Kwanzaa and 2 supplementary symbols. And we need to understand these symbols in order to celebrate Kwanzaa properly. Now, the first and fundamental symbol is the mkeka. The mkeka is the straw mat. The straw mat is you place on the shrine. We within the Alkabulan Revivalist movement prefer a round mat, which represents the cycle of life from the womb to the tomb and beyond. But it does not have to be a circular mkeka. That represents our African foundation, our culture, our land, our history, the mkeka, the foundation. And then everything is going to be built on the mkeka. So the next symbol is the kinara. The kinara. Place the kinara on the mkeka. The kinara, which is the candle holder, represents African parenthood and African ancestry. African parenthood, eldership, and African ancestry. Now, that means that from the source comes our ancestors, and from the ancestors come the elders. From the elders come the parents. So we have parents, elders, ancestors, African parenthood, African eldership, African ancestry coming from the source. That means all that we gain from our parents, our elders, our ancestors, all that we gain from them is coming from our cultural source. It's coming from our historical source. It's coming from our land as a source of knowledge, as a source of inspiration for all of us. Then we have the Mushuma Saba. The Mushuma Saba are the 7 candles that we place in the kinara. So remember, mkeka, mat, kinara, candle holder, Mushuma Saba, 7 candles. And the 7 candles are black, red, and green. The black candle goes in the middle. And guess what it represents? It represents the soul and mind and body, the blackness of Africanness, the mind, body, and soul of our people. Our peoplehood, our peopledom is represented in the black candle, which is in the center. Then we have 3 red candles to the right, 3 green candles to the left. Why are they organized in that way? Because the 3 red candles represents our sacrifice, our commitment, our hard work, our blood, our sweat, and our tears, that which we suffer in order to be free, that which we sacrifice, that which we have to commit, that the sweat of our brows that we have to experience in order to produce goods and services to meet our own needs. Yes? So all of that is represented in the red candle. The red comes before the green because the green represents prosperity, fertility. But before we can prosper, we must labor. Before we can prosper, we must fight. Before we can be free, we must resist. We must fight against the oppressor and shed blood if we have to shed blood in order to experience prosperity and fulfillment. So that's why it's ordered that way. Put the people in the center, but the people must sacrifice in order to achieve. Are you all with me, beloved brothers and sisters?
Oh, absolutely. Powerful, powerful teachings indeed. You know, it goes completely against what, you know, people are going to be taught in the churches or the mosques. You know, they're just taught to pray and just leave everything in the hands of, you know, some invisible being. But here we are being taught that we must do, you know, by the sweat of our brow, we must do in order to prosper. We must fight in order to bring about that prosperity. It's a
Absolutely.
powerful, powerful teaching, this really is. And I'm
so,
getting it. I certainly hope the entire family's getting it out there as well. Yeah.
And so the red, black, and green are the dominant colors of Kwanzaa. The dominant colors, red, black, and green.
And
These
the
are
color behind you in the flag as well, in the garvey.
absolutely, absolutely. And that, as you know, that's perennial. That is, you know, that is ever there, because that is the color of the flag that was given to us by the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey. And Baba Maulana Karenga, being a Garveyite, had just reinforced the red, black, and green, the power of the red, black, and green. We also, within the Alkabulan Revivalist movement, we include the gold as well. Not in terms of the candles, but in terms of the general decor. In fact, we would put 2 separate gold candles on our shrines to represent the sun as a source of energy and the riches of the earth. So one of the gold candles represents the sun as a source of energy, source of power in the universe, and the other gold candle that represents gold as a symbol of richness, a symbol of wealth of the earth. So it will represent diamond, gold, copper, all of the richness of the African earth is represented in the gold candle. Then we have the mazao. The mazao is the basket of fruits. The basket of fruits. The mazao. In fact, before I mention the mazao, I should mention the muhindi, which is the ears of corn. The ears of corn are representative of our children, the children in our home, the children in our community. And as you know, the cob has many bits of corn on the cob, and so what that symbolizes is how important it is that we have many children. We raise many children for our nation. We raise many children for our family. As I said before, children are central to the celebration of Kwanzaa. Without children, Kwanzaa almost is irrelevant. Now, I don't mean if we don't have children in our home, we don't celebrate Kwanzaa. What I mean is open your doors to children from your family and your community to come in and share in the celebration. Remember that in the African tradition, there is not one individual that is not a parent. It's called social parenting, collective parenting. Every single adult has parental responsibility for every single child in the community. And so even if you don't have a child in your home, when you do your Kwanzaa shrine, you must have at least 2 muhindi, 2 ears of corn on your shrine to represent the presence of children in your community, or the prospect of children coming from your own womb or coming from your own loins. In a sense, it's a prayer, and so now the significance of this muhindi to the rest of the symbols that we have highlighted so far, and this is very, very important. One of the most central ritual in Kwanzaa, next to the libation, after we pour libation to Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors, we have our candle lighting ritual. We light the Mushuma Saba, the 7 candles, starting with the candle in the middle, the black candle. Then we go to the right to light the red candle next to the black candle. Then we go to the left to light a green candle. So it's black and then red and then green, and then red and then green, and then red and then green. Remember, I said sacrifice comes before prosperity. We must sacrifice. We must commit. We must dedicate ourselves before we can accomplish, before we can achieve. Now, importantly, this ritual is conducted in a particular way. The lighting of the candle involves an adult striking the match, and if the child is old enough to manage and hold the match and light the candle, the adult passes the match to the child lights the candle. If the child is too small to be entrusted with holding the match for safety's sake, the adult will hold the hand of the child whilst lighting the candle. So that symbolically, it's the child who is lighting the candle, not the adult, the child. Why? Because this, as we say, the Mushuma Saba means 7 life principles. It is these 7 life principles are symbolic of our value system, our source of knowledge and wisdom. Now remember, we talk about the Mkeka, the mat, representing the foundation, our culture, our history, our land, and then the Kinara, representing ancestry and parenthood. So so the ancestors, the parents, the elders become the repository of knowledge and wisdom that comes from the source, our culture, our history, our motherland. And then that is manifested through the Nguzo Saba. The Nguzo Saba, the 7 life principles. The knowledge of the Nguzo Saba comes from our ancestors to the elders to parents, and then the children light the match, meaning that they are receiving the wisdom from their parents, from their elders. Isn't that beautiful, brothers and sisters?
It is.
The children receiving the wisdom, but not only are they receiving the wisdom, by lighting the candle, they are making a pledge to manifest this principle through themselves, to shine this light, the light of Umoja, the light of Kujichagulia, the light of Ujima, the light of Ujamaa, the light of Nia, the light of Kuumba, the light of Imani. I am making a pledge to make this principle shine through me, to be a beacon light of the Nguzo Saba. Powerful, powerful, brothers and sisters. And then we have, from there, we have the Mazao. The Mazao is the basket of fruits that represents our harvest. But remember, I said harvest is not just food harvest, but creative and productive achievements of any kind. So if it's academic achievements, if it's artistic achievements, whatever accomplishment, if it's achievements in business, as long as that is connected with and channeled towards the liberation of our people, we celebrate that during Kwanzaa. So the basket of fruits represents all of that. And then we have the Zawadi. Zawadi means gifts. The gift giving at Kwanzaa is also very important. We give gifts amongst adults, but most importantly, gifts to the children. And gifts must be associated with commitment and accomplishment. So if you're giving a gift to someone or giving a gift, especially to our children, you must tie that in with something positive that the child has done, something positive that the child has achieved throughout the year. I'm giving you a gift to mark your accomplishment in this, your accomplishment in that, to encourage the child to know that reward comes through accomplishment, through working hard and achieving. Then you get rewarded. Tendai Mari. So those are the 7 symbols of Kwanzaa. Very quickly, the 2 supplementary symbols are the Bandera ya Taifa, the national flag of standards, the Bandera. And then the Kikombe cha Umoja, The Kikombecha Umoja, sorry, brothers and sisters. The Kikombecha Umoja is is the seventh symbol. Okay, so let's forget not forget, but put the bandera to the side for a moment. The Kikombecha Umoja is the cup of unity. Kikombecha Umoja. Remember, Umoja means unity. Kikombecha Umoja, cup of unity. It is that cup of unity from which we commune with our ancestors. We pour libation from the Kikombecha Umoja, and then we commune with the ancestors. The Bandera ya Taifa, the national flag of standards, symbolizes our nationhood. We are a nation of people. Kwanzaa is a national celebration. It's symbolized in the Bandera ya Taifa, and then we have a poster of the Nguzo Saba as a supplementary symbol. So those are the two supplementary symbols, the Bandera ya Taifa and the Nguzo Saba poster, which has the Nguzo Saba, the Swahili word, the English meaning, and of course, each of those principles has a affirmation. So, Umoja, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. Kujichagulia, to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves, instead of being defined, named, created for, and spoken for by others. Kujichagulia, self-determination. And if there's time, I can go through the rest, brothers and sisters. Tendai Mwari.
Wow, Tendai Mwari. Oh my God. I mean, I've made a note of some of the symbols there and their meaning, but there is just so much more to Kwanzaa that you've illuminated for us than I even realized, and that I've probably taken in previously. Thank you so much for that. And you know, you gave us the 7 principles as well, and I know that your organization uses each principle as a day of the strong. So instead of Sunday, you might use let me see what's the first principle, Ujama.
Umoja, and Umoja.
Oh, Umoja. And then for Monday, Kujichagulia. I can never say that one.
Kujichagulia. Kujichagulia.
Kujichagulia.
That's it.
That would be Tuesday. And
Monday.
Then
that would be Monday. That would be Monday.
Oh, Monday. And then Tuesday, Ujima.
Ujima, yes.
Yes. And then Wednesday, I know that one, Ujamaa, because that's my day, Wednesday. And so on. And so that's another way of encouraging our children to get to know, you know, the 7 principles. Absolutely. And also, you know, to get them thinking then after the meaning of each of the principles, and to give them gifts if they can memorize it as well. And so it's beautiful principles. And then, you know, what the shrine symbolizes as well. Powerful, you know, to explain that to the children. And I love what you were saying in the earlier part as well about the preparation as well, and the run up to Kwanzaa, how important that is. And, you know, today even is part of the preparation. And, you know, because now we're talking about it, hopefully we're encouraging those who are listening to, you know, create a shrine, or to get the candles, or, you know, to do something, and to maybe involve the children in it as well. I think it's beautiful.
And can I also say, there's a lot of stuff. The internet is awash with songs and stories and, you know, and films.
And every year the songs just seem to get better and better, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can go on the net and get, you know, Kwanzaa songs playing.
Kwanzaa songs,
range of Kwanzaa songs playing throughout the house, and it just helps to create that atmosphere in the home.
Yes. And I want to welcome.
The jingle bells.
Midiama.
Kick that out. You know, when our children at this time of the year, when they go to school, all them get is the Babylonian something. I don't even want to call it.
True.
They're saturated.
So we have to cleanse all of that when they come back. in the home, and so that they don't feel as though they're missing out, because it's built up, you know,
Exactly.
all around them, isn't it? And you know, we don't want our children feeling as though they're missing out, and so you know, they need to feel special.
And
in the
for them things is one day, ours is 7. So when I'm happy for them one day and done, we just really, when I'm done, we just come, and it's 7 days. You understand? So
7 days of celebrations.
7 days.
Wonderful. Yeah. Now, I'm going to come back to you. I don't know if you know of any online celebrations that's happening, or if anyone in the chat knows of online celebrations that's happening over the Kwanzaa period. If you do, please do post a link. Please do post information about any online Kwanzaa events. So I want to rise up everybody in the house. I can see we've got Blue Zodiac, Sister Jamo, Brother Kwame Obojo is in the house. Rise up, Brother Kwame. Lots of messages from our beloved Kwame Oboje. Rise up, rise up. We've got to Kwame Afiwi in the house as well. Rise up, Mundele, rise up, and lots of messages going on in there. And so thank you so much for your messages and lots of communication with each other. Morgani, good to have you in the house as well. Each and every one of you, Brother Simon, you know, they're just loving what's been presented here today. Sister Karen in the house, greetings, Hotep family. I'm joining in from Dutchess County, New York. Good to have you in the house. Yenge Lumbu, Yenge Mimpa Kiambote, my beloved brother. He's rising us up. Heru is in the house. Rise up, Brother Simeon. Oh, the family is coming out today. Sister Karen in the house, saying that she loves Dr. Clyde Winters. Yes, I was saying earlier that I'm honored to be creating and building a wonderful training program with Dr. Clyde Winters for our family. I'll tell you more about that afterwards. But yeah, family, are you feeling the Kwanzaa vibes? Are you feeling Kwanzaa? Are you going to be lighting your candles? If you don't already have them, are you going to be getting the black, the red, and the green candles? Are you going to be having the children in, and will you be sharing with them what Kwanzaa is all about? I'm going to make a note in the description section of this video afterwards of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Let's, you know, rename our days and give them a Kwanzaa principle name as well. So yeah, Ron, we've got the Ethiopian World Federation in the house. Asking everyone to get the likes up. Yeah, please do. Give us a thumbs up, everybody. Absolutely free for you to do so. Give us a thumbs up. Oh, don't I need them? You know, I didn't even know if I'd be able to go live today. They've made further restrictions on my account. I can't do this, can't do that. So I do have a sister channel waiting in the wings, just in case the inevitable happens here. Brother Leader, they've already taken down about 10 of my videos. And, you know, every time I open up, it's like, oh, there's something else. But I think there's just some trolls that are just complaining for the sake of complaining and reporting for the sake of reporting.
Too black, too strong.
They do.
Too black, too strong.
Them I like it.
Yeah, exactly. We know.
And look how bad them is. Look how bad them is. And look at all what them are going, we don't know what them are do. And I just look at your talk and them have a problem with it. But right. We don't know the thing already. So we do the best we can. And wow, Kwanzaa, absolutely fantastic. So, Brother Leader, you've shared so much about Kwanzaa. I know you're restricted for time, but before you go, is there anything more that you want to leave with us about Kwanzaa?
Yes, Tendai Mwari, beloved brothers and sisters, we call Kwanzaa a stroke of African genius. The brothers and sisters from the US organization in the USA were geniuses, were cultural geniuses. They were inspired to travel to the motherland. Think about that for a moment, because they realized that we had a serious problem. We were in crisis. And the crisis that we were in was because of the disconnection with our mother culture. And so they reconnected with the motherland and came back to reconnect us with the motherland. A great deal of vision and a sense of mission is what has brought us this wonderful universal gift called Kwanzaa. And when I say universal, I mean a celebration that's relevant to African people throughout the world. It is relevant to every single African on the planet. And Kwanzaa has the power to unite us, to synchronize us, and to collectively empower us. So let us this year, beloved brothers and sisters, and I want to also emphasize this concept of cultural imperative. Kwanzaa is a cultural imperative. So remember, Kwanzaa is a stroke of genius. It is also a cultural imperative. What do I mean by cultural imperative? Cultural imperatives are compelling events that are determined by cultural traditions. They are not negotiable. So in other words, we don't question whether one is celebrating Kwanzaa this year. It is Kwanzaa. And since we are Africans, we celebrate Kwanzaa. We are required to celebrate Kwanzaa. Our cultural tradition demands of us. It is bigger than me. It is bigger than you. You see what I'm saying, brothers and sisters? It's a cultural imperative. It is imperative that we all get behind this celebration of Kwanzaa. So we do it in our homes and we do it in the community. Build your Kwanzaa shrine, get your ritual objects, the symbols I've outlined, and build your Kwanzaa shrine at home. Get onto the net if you don't have a book, a book by Maulana Karenga, about the celebration of Kwanzaa. And I also have a book by Baba Ishaka Musa Bar, the late Ishaka Musa Barashango, where African people and European holidays. He has in book 1, he has a chapter on Kwanzaa, very good breakdown on Kwanzaa. But if you don't have the books, go on the net. There's plenty of information. You can Google it. You can go on YouTube. There's plenty of information, beloved brothers and sisters. Get your children sitting in front of the TV and go on YouTube and pull up some of those wonderful, wonderful stories and explanations of Kwanzaa, and feast yourself and feast your children on it, and get yourself into preparing the home for celebrating Kwanzaa, and then get out there to the community. Find out where the Kwanzaa events are going on in the community. Get out there and meet with other Africans in the celebration of Kwanzaa. So I say Kwanzaa, even a hooray, and you say hooray, and I say Habari. And in the pre-Kwanzaa season, we say it's Kwanzaa time. So when Kwanzaa starts, we say the principle of the time of the day. But in the pre-Kwanzaa season, we say Habari Gani. The response is it's Kwanzaa time. And then we have the Harambe, 7 Harambes. And that's also a greeting. So we can greet each other with Harambe. But Harambe is also an affirmation that we utter during Kwanzaa. And we do it 7 times. Some of us do the one-hand motion. In the Alkabulan Revivalist movement, we use 2 hands for a stronger grip. So we do 7 Harambes. So please do it with me, brothers and sisters. 7 Harambes. Harambe,
Harambe, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe, Harambe.
Let us all pull together. Unity is strength. United we stand, divided we fall. Let us stand together, brothers and sisters, and you will find that when we as Africans stand together, truly stand together, there is no force on earth, that can stop us, beloved brothers and sisters. I close with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey: unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbidzo kunamwari Africa. To the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Tendai Mwari. Thank you so much, Ldr Mbandaka. That was just so fulfilling. It really was. Not only did you deliver in terms of telling us about Kwanzaa, but you also just filled and nourished our spirit about Kwanzaa as well. Thank you so much. Rise up, rise up. We've just been joined by Brother Mitree. He's the guest for the second part of the show today. Rise up, Brother Mitree. So, Ldr Mbandaka, as always, we are, deeply grateful when you come and you share your wisdom and knowledge and your energy with us as well, because, when you deliver, you go beyond the flesh and you touch us spiritually. That's the power that you have, that's why, I have to draw for you and say, Ldr Mbandaka,
anytime. Anytime. Kanamwariada, by the grace of the Almighty, by the will of the Creator of the universe. When you call me, my dear sister, I will be there. By the grace, I say again, Kanamwariada, by the grace of the Almighty. Tendai Mwari.
Thank you so much. Tendai Mwari, Tendai Mwari. Beautiful, beautiful. Brother Mitree, did you catch the first part of the show? Did you hear about the principles of Kwanzaa?
I caught the whole show. It was amazing. It was amazing. Beautiful, beautiful explanation. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Seriously.
It was indeed.
The middle candle is for black.
Yes.
And then 3 red on the, and then 3 green.
That's it, yeah.
He said they also added gold now, or to represent the sun and the wealth of the land. So I was listening to the whole show.
Yeah, powerful delivery there. And he was saying, the 7 principles, if we were to adopt those 7 principles. And when he was talking about, what symbols we need to have on our shrine, I was there thinking, has anyone put together a Kwanzaa kit? So you can just order the Kwanzaa kit, on Amazon. Get your Kwanzaa kit and you open the box and it's got the mat, the candles and everything in there. I'm sure they have in America. I'm not sure if we've got it in the UK. But if not, so. You can weave the mat and you can pull together, some of these wonderful symbols. I can't even say the names of some of them. The mazulu, the mundulu, the ears of corn, the basket with the fruits, etc. I think there's a little enterprise there. 40 million celebrating Kwanzaa now. Yes, indeed. I just want to, bring in some of the audience as well. I just want to find out if they've actually responded with information about any Kwanzaa events that are coming up. Any online Kwanzaa events that you know about, Brother Mitree?
No, sadly, I don't know any, sadly.
I know of some face-to-face ones that are happening in our community, but not of any online one. But if you know of anyone, let us know. Thank you, Imhotep, giving us the 7 principles there. There you have it in the chat, family. Please do copy them and make use of them on a daily basis. Brother Imani, he is saying that it is excellent idea. He's saying, Sister Shanice, thank you so much for that. Brother Kwame saying, red mean blood, black mean race, and the green mean land. Ashe, ashe. Brilliant principles. Their family is saying in the chat as well. And lots of rise up for Ldr Mbandaka there. Wonderful, wonderful. And Rai Rilo was saying, what's Rai Rilo saying? Kwanzaa is like a scent nicotine patch to wean our people off the old thing. However, we should follow the summer solstice as people of the sun for maximum power. We hear you on that as well, Rai, and we're making baby steps back towards where we are coming from. We all want to get back to that place where we were powerful. And so we need to do what we can in order to get there. But agree, most importantly, we need to wean ourselves off the thing where I got jump out of the sky that I know during our years of enslavement still can't come out of the sky, come save us. But some of our people, many of our people, millions, probably billions of our people still praying and hoping, in La La Land. So, we do what we can. So just before I bring you on, beloved, I just want to mention to our family, I'm so excited about this, the training program that I'm currently working on with none other than Dr. Winters. Wow. We have been uncovering through the research program that we've been doing with Dr. Winters, the extent to which we have a huge history in Britain, which has been largely airbrushed from the history books. You can go through the school, colleges, and universities in the UK, and I don't know if that's the same for where you are, my brother, but you can go through the school, colleges, and universities and not be told hardly anything outside of enslavement about our history in Britain and the British Isles. So you can imagine when I joined the Dr. Winters research program and started to do some really deep research from archaeological, from the documentation, from the ancient books, etc., and start to uncover all of this history that's there about us as Africans when we were on the land of Britain itself as the first indigenous people, what we created, what we brought to the lands, the civilizations, and who we were, the languages. I mean, it's just incredible the amount of history that's there. You know, the heraldry, the symbolisms, if you know what to look out for, so much history. Anyway, we have coming very soon, family. I wonder if I can show you the flyer. I've got a flyer. I'll post it in the community section of this YouTube channel as well, because we are going to be unlocking some hidden chapters of British history. It's a study course. We're revolutionizing the history in Britain. Those of you who are taught British history will know there's very little that we're taught outside of enslavement, and you would not be wrong to think that as Africans we only turned up during the 1950s and 60s, you know, off of the Windrush. You would not be, you know, criticized for thinking that, because that is certainly what we have been taught. Well, as I said, we're revolutionizing Black history in Britain. We're going to be transforming the minds of our people, and we need those who want to study our history. We need those who want to rewrite history. We need those who want to start publishing books, and we need those who want to start writing articles and becoming, you know, teachers in your own right in this to join our program. We need a core group of serious people, because we need to build teams of Afrocentric researchers. It's needed. We've got to start writing the history for ourselves. There's a new Black British history that needs to be written based on facts, based on evidence, based on archaeology, geology, genetics. The evidence is there. We need you on the case. So the course is going to start on the third week. It's going to be on a Monday, and it's going to start on the third week of January. That's the 22nd of January on a Monday, from 7:30 through to 9:30. It's going to be delivered by Dr. Clyde Winters and myself. We're doing lots of preparation for you. You're going to get lots of great handouts. It's a 6-week study program, £199. There is a big £50 early bird discount, so you can get it for $149. So get in there early. We need those serious researchers, those who want to write, those who want to produce books, those who want the support to learn how to do all of that, to come on the program. You can even register now. Go to my Gumroad account. I've got a Gumroad account, so you can go there at gumroad.com. Just search for Sister Shanice, gumroad.com, and it should come up, and you can actually book and benefit from the early bird program. Okay, it's a 6-week study course. That's the starting point. And family, we're going to be taking you on a journey. There's a phenomenal history, as I said, that we need to uncover, and we need to write about it, and we need to face up to the challenges that's going to come from doing it as well. I tell you, you know, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but wow, wow, wow. As we were saying earlier in my show today, this is the time of awakening. We have access to information in a way that we never had it before. And what we're finding, family, is mind-blowing. Mind-blowing when you consider what we were taught, you know, and what was said about us and our history. That Kunta Kinte story was just a fraction of who we are as a people. We are a mighty people. We've achieved greatness, and you're going to learn what to look out for so that you can begin to recognize all of what, well, not all, you know, but much of what we accomplished in Britain and the British Isles. So join us on that program. It's going to be great. I'm going to post information about it in the community section of this channel and on my sister channel, African World Affairs. And if you're on my email list, I'll be sending out email information about it as well. It's going to be fire. This course is just going to be so exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Honored to have Dr. Winters, such an accomplished historian in his own right, who is, you know, not afraid to go against the grain. Yeah, we've been educated or miseducated into thinking that we have got to stay within a particular framework and in a particular box that they put us in. But if those of you who've been following these programs know anything about what we do here, hey, we come original. So looking forward to you joining me on that, and I'll be giving you more information as the week goes on, weeks go on, but don't leave it too late to book. Okay, places are limited. We want it to be an intimate program, so don't leave it too late. I mentioned there the sister channel, which is the African World Affairs, and if you go over there, you will find some programs that and some interviews and some lectures by none other than Teacha Mitree, who is with us right now. Teacha Mitree in the house. I know you've met him before, but let's welcome him again. Hey, Teacha Mitree, Abarigani.
Barigani to you too.
Time. It's Kwanzaa time. Yes.
Kwanzaa time.
Kwanzaa
Happy Kwanzaa in
time.
advance. Happy Kwanzaa in advance to everybody. This is a good opportunity for African people to start getting rid of the Christmas ghost. You know, the night crawler who's jumping down your chimney. It's a good opportunity.
Yes, indeed. And we welcome you to another Sister Shanice show. We've had you on the show before, and you delivered for us from your African Paradigm program. And you have been delivering on the sister channel. We had the first two shows, which was focusing on the color black. You were decolonizing our minds and recolonizing our minds. And now, and since then, we've had two sessions from you on the 7 elements of nature. And there's a third one because I split the last one in 2 parts that I'm going to be dropping this week. So family, look out for that one as well. And then we're going to be going on to some pillars, some formidable pillars, you know, that will give us the strength that we need in order to find our way back to greatness again. Brother Teacha Mitree, please introduce yourself to the family for those who may not have met you before.
Okay, the one who comes in peace is always welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. And the one who comes to learn is especially always welcome. Positive energy and creation energy to all of you out on the Sister Shanice show, all the African people, our community and our society, collective, all of us. My name is Teacha Mitree, and I am the teacher of something called the Organic African Paradigm. In simple definition, it means natural identity blueprint. So exactly what Ldr Mbandaka was talking about, that's called a natural identity blueprint. So he's taking a natural identity blueprint of African, and he is teaching it to Africans. That is just the logical thing that we Africans should do. So he didn't go to Arabia and took their culture and bring it to try to teach it to Africans. He didn't go to Eskimo land to bring it there. He just took it from Africa and then he teaches to Africans. Yes. And this is something that's, you know, shocking to Africans, like, well, why would you go all the way to Africa and bring culture to teach us? It's yours. It is natural for you to be organic, to be yourself. So Organic African Paradigm comes from that. But Organic African Paradigm is more a journey for the African people to take back their power, their sovereignty. So Organic African Paradigm is built on a dream, okay? Not any unique dream like all of you, like, you know, but I will tell you a portion of the dream, okay? When I was going through my own awakening, I had been in a state of inertia before, like everybody else, where I was asleep and I was in a slumber. But then I went through an awakening. So something triggered it, and I'll tell you all that in 2017 of November, I discovered that Africans were being sold in Libya, the country we call Libya, for $400 on CNN. And at that time, I was a practicing Muslim, and I never felt something so enraging in my life. Like, it was the most enraging thing I ever felt to see something like that, because I was believing in this culture, this faith. I used to wear the turban and everything, dressed like the Arabs and all of that. And then all of a sudden I see this, and it did not, it caused my blood to turn to fire. So when this happened, immediately I started to try to reach out to spread the word. I tried to do some online sharing and all those type of stuff. And people just flat out, African people just flat out said, no, I'm not interested. I want to know where the party is. I want to know where the good time is. They were not interested. They saw their own people being enslaved. There were videos of this African woman. There was this Arab guy takes a hammer and just bashes her on the skull so many times just for the sake of killing her, right? There was a video of this woman who was pregnant, went to Libya to go try to cross the Mediterranean Sea, and she gave birth to a child in this prison cell, and the child died on the floor. There was another video of this brother. He told his mom, he's from Nigeria, he told his mother he was going to go to Libya to go to Europe to get a better life. So his mom put money together, and then his little sister begged him to go with her. So when she begged him to go with him, they went through the Sahara Desert, and they were killing people as they were going along the Sahara Desert, right? They were dropping, someone couldn't keep up, they would just shoot them and they would die, and then they would leave them there, right? And when he made it all the way and they put him there, when they got to the boat, that little buggy thing that they all pile up on to get across the Mediterranean, he was the only person. There was no more room for him or his sister. One of them had to go. So they were talking, they were crying, begging. And the Arab guy said, I would just settle it. And he just went and shot the guy's sister in her head.
Oh,
And
my goodness
he
gracious
settled
me.
it and put the guy on the boat. The boat capsized in the river, and the guy had to be returned back to Libya. Paid for his freedom, called his family to pay for his freedom. Then he went back to Nigeria, and he did not want, he felt so ashamed, he couldn't go back to his family anymore. So he just ended up living on the street as a criminal just because of that. So when I saw this, and I kept I absorbed all of that. I absorbed all that stuff because it all the things that was happening, the evil, I absorbed it during that time. So I went out to people and tell them in my community, try to talk to them, try to do this, try to do that, get them to pay attention. And they were not interested. They were so upset that I was disrupting their comfort or their inertia. So when I became so desperate, I couldn't find any more people, companion or people to relate to, I was sitting up at night in the dark, right? It was past midnight. I was just sitting up like stressed out and just sitting. And then all of a sudden I felt this, while I was in that complete darkness, I felt this cool breeze inside of my body. My body just got cool all of a sudden. And when it got cool all of a sudden, very cool and relaxed, I was like, what is going on here? Why am I so cool? Why am I so relaxed? And my mind opened like a seed. And when it opened like a seed, I could hear my inner voice, not the voice that you hear in your head, but there's another version of yourself. There's a voice that is so low that you can only pick it up when you're at the quietest part of your existence. When you reach the quietest part of your existence, you can hear that voice. So I was able to hear that voice for the first time. And then that voice was the one who came out of that hidden darkness and started to, now open my mind. And so I talk to the ancestors. I say, okay, I don't know who created me, but I'm making this a general statement if you're listening. Wherever you are, I'm in crisis. I'm at a point where I need to know which way is the right way. And I don't want any more games. I want the real deal. I will handle it. I will take whatever you give me. I'm not going to say this is it. I'm ready for it. Give me the thing that I need. So gradually, I started to come up every night. I would stay up at that same hour, and the same effect would happen. The same quiet, low whispering voice would appear. And gradually, I started to gain like an awareness, a consciousness, almost like I tapped into an intelligence that existed with me for infinite eons. And we started to connect, and I started to hear that knowledge for the first time. My mind started to open. I started to see things for the reality for what it was. And then I studied John Henry Clark for 1 month straight. Went to Chancellor William, studied it. Went to Malcolm X, studied it. Marcus Garvey, studied it. Amos Wilson, studied it. I just started studying, absorbing knowledge. So one day I went to sleep and I had a dream. The first dream happened to me. And as I was walking through this mall, I see a tent with light. It just catches my attention. And I was like, why is there a tent with light in the middle of a mall? Right? It's just so strange. So I go to the tent, open the door, and then I see all these infinite ancestors, generations of Africans. John Henry Clark, Marcus Garvey, all these people who had come before us and they left, they were all in this tent way back. In them, there were the original ancestors there. The first ones that came before everybody, they were there. And I sat down really quick, excited, like, teach me everything you know. I'm ready for this knowledge. And as soon as I sat down to learn this knowledge, a white woman opened the tent and said, I want a sweepstake of Mercedes-Benz. And I was like, me? So I had a choice between wealth and knowledge. So I went with the white woman. I left the ancestors there. I told them, you guys just hang out a few minutes. I'll go get this car and I'll be back and then we can talk. So kind of like how you talk to your homies, right? So I left the ancestors there and I went to the white woman's, and she's just smiling, grinning like an evil person. And the whole time I'm at the counter, she's delaying me, wasting my time. Like the sand in the glass is falling and I'm just there. She can't finish typing up the paper for the car. So I was like, okay, fine. Let me go back to the ancestors. As soon as I get to the tent to talk to them, she comes and grabs me out of that tent again and pulls me back to the counter and says, the car is ready. Don't go in, you'll lose the car if you don't come now. So I sat down there. I said, okay, fine. Give me the car. And then I look across, I see Denzel Washington, a celebrity. So I ran up to Denzel. I said, hey, Denzel, you won't believe there's Malcolm X in that tent. You played him in a movie. You need to meet him and tell him all about how you did in the movie. So we go to the tent, and then we are about to go to the tent. Then Denzel said, I need to go to the restroom to wipe my knee, to wipe the mud off my knee. So I was like, okay. And I knew I had did something wrong then. Because when I looked at the tent, I saw these ancestors' faces were sad. It's almost like you had done something and you disappointed people so badly, and then their faces just... So I ended up, the ancestor said, your time is up, and I ended up losing that, right? So I left that dream, and the ancestor came back to me again 6 months after meditating, trying to get back that connection. I couldn't get it because I failed the first test. So the second time I get the test again, this time they take me to Africa and they show me the future of Africa. And they show me how Africa will be devastated by what is coming. So the Europeans, the Arabs, the Asians will come and they will peel off the flesh of the African continent. So like, you know how we have flesh on our bones and the minerals is in the flesh of the African continent? They're going to peel off the flesh of our mother, our womb, our creator. They're going to dig it and peel that flesh until the African continent becomes so sick. And when they're done, they are going to devour the African people. We are going to perish because of that. We won't be able to go into the sea. We won't be able to get fish out of the sea. The sea will be dry. No more fish, because the Chinese will drain our fish. The Europeans will drain the oil. They will drain everything, all the gold. The Arabs, everybody will come together and drain Africa. And then the Africans will reach a point of total desperation. Total desperation. They will go to a point of total madness, right? That means that all this stuff we're talking about, all this stuff will be gone. Only the insanity will remain. So the ancestors then stopped. We were standing on top of Africa. The ancestors then stopped and showed me the continent, all the broken Africans, just like zombies. And then we left the dream. So I left that dream feeling very confused. I don't know what's going on. What is this? I thought it was somebody was playing a witchcraft on me or something like that. So I was like, okay, I don't know what this is all about, but I'm going to wait again and see if I can connect and find out what's the next step. So after another 6 months of meditating, studying, growing my development, when I achieve a new level of development, I was able to access that realm again. And they take me to another dream now, and they create, out of those broken human beings, the Africans that have been broken, I get to my village. And I see this village in Liberia where we go to the Palava hut. There are two Africans, a man and a woman, lying on a table. Their legs are broken, their brain is open, all their blood is all over the place. Wow. And the ancestors appear, those ones that were in the back of the tent, they appear and they surround the table. And they start to put that man and that woman back together, right? So the farmer, with the ancestor, which was a farmer, planted a field of food that would nourish their body. The ancestor, who was an engineer and an architect, they build things and they put things together. And the ancestor, who was a chemist, put all the cells, the body, all the chemicals in the body back together, and the brain and all that stuff. And so the ancestor, who was leadership, taught the Africans leadership, and they taught them military and all those type of stuff. And when they were done teaching the man and the woman, they set them forth and they say, they are ready now. So the man and woman woke up and they were ready to begin the liberate or the freedom or what do you call it, the sovereignty of Africa. And when they woke up from this, the dream ended. So now I was like, okay, so there is hope now, right? So if there's hope now, that means that there is a way for African people to restore the men and women of the continent. There is a hope of salvation. So again, I got to develop myself. I had to study. I had to learn about our history, everything I could. Then when I achieved that level of growth, I was able to access that realm again. And this time, the dream, I go into the marketplace and I see a man and a woman standing on a stage talking to the crowd, and everybody's running to the stage. And the man and woman tell the African people how they are going to free Africa. They give the whole plan how Africa will be freed. First thing is that there are European spies and CIA and all those all over the continent causing trouble. So the leader arrested every one of them. Every European that was wandering free in the continent, touching children, doing all those stuff, they banned them they restricted their movement to the point where they could not gain information about the African people anymore. They had no access to information, because information is power. And every time they've been coming into Africa, they've been going into places, getting information, putting that information into database so they could use that to develop their civilization, to weaken African people, to attack them. But this leader did not allow them any movement. He restricted their movement completely. They could not touch African children anymore. They could not dig wells in Africa. They could not move anywhere. So the European government got extremely angry at Africans, right? And he put their agents there, shipped all their agents back, and said, if you send them back again, they're not coming back. So now, this leader now sent the military out with the teachings of the organic African paradigm, and had the military educate all the African people. So within a span of 5 years. The military who were just sitting there doing nothing, they went to every village, every town, everywhere you see. They were teaching the men and women, African and so and so. So the African people were able to catch up to the world's level of intelligence and knowledge and education in a very short period because it was a full-scale mobility. And when the African people were fully educated, the Europeans grew extremely angry. The African people took it wasn't the African Union, but it was called the African Sphere of Authority, Governance, and Influence. It was like the African Union. So there was this African Sphere of Authority, Governance, and Influence, this place of where the Africans set up, this place where this leader was. They went to every country in Africa, and they built the leaders gave them land. So they gave them 3/16 of land in Nigeria, 3/16 of land in Liberia, 3/16 of land in all the 54 countries in Africa, in Haiti, in Jamaica, every black continent, they gave them land, 3/16 of land. And on that 3/16 of land, they built a structure where they were training Africans, and they were cultivating agriculture. They were cultivating things so they could finance the African Sphere of Authority, Governance, and Influence. So it's not like the African Union, which was getting its wealth from the World Bank and all these Chinese and all these Arabs. No, it was the African Sphere of Authority, Governance, and Influence was not getting its wealth from there. It was getting its wealth from the 3/16 of a land that Jamaica gave them to farm, to grow yam, to grow this and export those, or to grow this or do that, right? So this 3/16 of land, everybody gave them, and this institution became powerful. And they could negotiate on behalf of the African people. They could speak. So every 3/16 of gold from every African country or minerals was going to this. And military Africans were being trained. 3/16 of the population of African were trained into military, and they were being part of this institution. And then the Europeans, because they couldn't access secrets from the African people, they couldn't access no more things anymore, so they declare war on the African people. They invade Africa completely. And I woke up from this dream, right? I didn't see how the war ended. But I felt a little bit hopeful now because I didn't see how they fought or whatnot, but I know they declared war on them because the African people were completely sovereign. Like they didn't care no more. They had wealth, they had all their minerals, and the Europeans had to make mineral for mineral exchange. They couldn't exchange cash or loans for minerals no more. They had to exchange copper for copper or gold for gold. They couldn't exchange no more non-minerals. So the African people became an economical power just from that, right? And I was like, whoa. So I woke up and I put down all the things that I was taught by the ancestors. I wrote it down into the Organic African Paradigm. When I put it all in the Organic African Paradigm blueprint, the ancestors would come every night and they would give me instructions to write it down. And so gradually I learned about darkness. So that thing I taught you about that, I learned the color psychology. That was because the ancestor taught me the color psychology then. And then from there, I learned about the African people elemental nature. And from then, I learned about the ego war. I learned about the fluid intelligence and the surgical intelligence. I learned about inertia. I learned about creation and destruction energy. I learned about the equilibrium, emotional abandoning balance and balance. I learned about the mental verse and the soul verse. I learned about all those things, right? And finally, the final dream came after I was done my training and I had ascended one more level. The final dream came and I was taken to the future. And in the future, the land we call Congo, there was a giant fence around the Congo, sealed off. So the Africans had defeated the foreigners and driven all of them back into their lands. And the Africans sealed off the Congo, and the Congo became like a Mecca where Africans would go and make spiritual pilgrimage for their ancestors. They would go to Nyalubali. They would do pilgrimage to their ancestors, and they would take the waters, and they would bring those type of stuff. So Africans were moving around. Africans were now, after the defeat of the Europeans, the Africans made a deal with the Europeans. If the Europeans never made weapons again, if they never threatened the security of the earth and humanity, Africans would give them food, they would give them electricity. So they should not leave Europe anymore to go cause trouble. They should stay in Europe and farm and take care of their cattle and live their life and try to be happy instead of trying to destroy the world. So they offer them electricity, they offer them food, they offer them, anything that they could, so they keep them from causing trouble in the world. And the Native Americans were giving their land, and the Aboriginals, Australians, were giving back their land, and New Zealand was giving back to the people. And the Europeans were all, because they lost so many people in the war, so they ended up back in Europe, and they were no longer causing trouble. They were using the land wisely. They had gained some sort of wisdom finally. And so the ancestor took me back to Africa, showed me the Sahara Desert. And I didn't know that we were at the Sahara Desert because I saw rivers, and I saw vegetation, and I saw animals everywhere. So I thought it was Kenya or something. Ancestors said, no, the Sahara Desert has been regrown by the Africans, and the Africans built pyramids, black pyramids of their ancestors. They rebuilt the pyramids of their ancestors. So the pyramids were rebuilt, and the Africans were using this as energy to create batteries to charge things. And the Africans now were at the point where they were leaving the earth to take their civilization to other planets. So they were taking they had built ships and all those type of stuff, and they were taking their civilization to the next world and start a long time ago, what the ancestors came from Sirius and started on Earth, they were doing that to go to another planet. So then the ancestors said, this is the path for them if they want it. If they choose it, this will be what they get. But if they choose their own path, if they follow their own path, they will get what they want, right? So there's only two choices here. With this, there's this path which the ancestors laid out, and there's the other path which the Africans will follow the Europeans. The Europeans and the Arabs will peel off the flesh of the continent, and then they will be paralyzed, right? They will have to figure their way out of that one on their own. But for now, this is what Organic African Paradigm Mission is. Organic African Paradigm Mission is to bring that world builders back into this world. So it's not something light, it's not something trivial. It's something very complex. It's something very, it's a freedom for all our people. It's freedom for planet Earth. It's freedom for humanity in general. But it is not something trivial. So I say it to you with a very, heaviness in me to say that it is very, very serious. So I'm going to stop here and let you come in.
Well, thank you so much, Teacha Mitree, for sharing the dreams, the vision, the meaning of it, your interpretation of those dreams as well, and, the work that you put into getting prepared to, so that you could be where you are today. And you're definitely being used by our ancestors. And I'm going to start waking up in the middle of the night as well and just see if I can hear that inner voice talk to me as well, because, you connected with the divine spiritual essence, within yourself, and you connected to your ancestors, or to the great ones, the great ancestors that Ldr Mbandaka was talking about. And, the first time round when they came to you, you clearly just wasn't ready. You were still maybe very much, of the world, and, ready to receive, the trinkets that the world had to offer. But by the time you went on and you continued to study and prepare yourself, when they came back to you again a second time, you were ready, and you didn't make that same mistake again by being distracted by, the trinkets and what the world had to offer. And, that story is so powerful, because unfortunately, a lot of our leaders of today are there. They are receiving the trinkets that the Europeans are bringing to flatter them, to make them feel as though they're better than everybody else. And they're taking all of these gifts and turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to the suffering of their people and their nations. And so, you know, the story that you went on to talk about the leader, the one who comes like a knight in shining armor and has the wisdom to close its doors and shut itself off from the pedophiles, the murderers, the CIA, the gangsters and the militias and the like that are causing havoc in the country. Ah, wow, 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 to shut them out. And all the others as well that come as investors, but are there raping the land, you know, come as foreign investors who are supposed to be the saviors of the country. But what they're doing is what you're talking about, raping the land, stripping it. And, you know, that's happening all over the continent. And if that continues, then, you know, the dream is going to end up, Africa going to end up how you saw it in your dream, just stripped, naked and bleeding, you know, and all the people suffering. But if we wake up, if our leaders wake up, and it looks as though an awakening is going to be happening according to your dream, there's an awakening to come. I don't know if it's going to be in my lifetime, but there's an awakening that's going to happen. The leaders are going to train the people in the military arms. It's a phenomenal vision, and one that gives us a huge amount of hope. Wow, wow, wow. You know, let's see what the family in the chat has been saying. There's been a lot of comments coming in. Sister Afrijamo says that the leader sounds like Ibrahim Toure right now. Yeah, does indeed. And you know, it's been said that a lot of us as Africans, we've been dying for a long time on the continent, and Amma needs to come in and help and assist. Yeah. What have we got going on here? Mundele says, intelligent young man, our earliest ancestors indeed came from Sirius. We learn from Bunda di Congo. Here is a young brother from Liberia talking, dreaming about the DR Congo. Yes, indeed. And the landmass in its true, and the rest of it's disappeared there. So rise up, beloved. And to everyone who's commenting in the chat, if you've got any questions for our brother, please post them in the chat as well. Kwame Roger saying, our ancestors is always with me. Our ancestors always with me, he said. Yes, soulfully, mentally, physically, and culturally. Yes, they are indeed. But do we hear what they're saying to us? Do we take time to listen to that still, quiet voice that wants to guide us, that wants to lead us, that wants to motivate us, that wants to inspire us to do what we need to do in order to bring about the changes that needs to happen? Brother Mitree has just shown us the way. Powerful, powerful stories there, my brother.
I have a slide for you if you want to go. It's just a small slide. It won't be long. It's a small slide. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about leadership, what our ancestral leadership used to be. So I'm going to talk about this symbol. Can you see the symbol on your screen?
Yeah, we're seeing the slide and we're seeing the ones down the side as well.
Okay, let me put this in. I don't want to. I'll put it in the PowerPoint screen. What is it called?
Yeah, go down the bottom.
Mode, but yeah, I will. Where is slideshow mode?
If you go down the bottom, it's on my right hand corner. You've got it there. Next one.
Okay, I see it. I see it. All right.
Yeah.
So what I will do is, me and you are going to do a lecture on the 3 keys of understanding, but I'm not going to take away that lecture from you. We're going to talk about the symbol of leadership in Africa. For those of you out there, you need to learn this symbol, okay? You need to learn who the African people are. Now, if you go to Organic African Paradigm Teachings, you'll find out this stuff here. In Africa, we have elephants, correct? The elephant is the symbol of African sovereignty. So, We're not supposed to kill an elephant in our culture.
Mm-hmm.
It is taboo. It is the biggest taboo to kill an elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the elephant is the symbol of the womb. And the womb, this ankh, people call it life. The ankh means womb. The ankh means womb.
Mm-hmm.
Womb is where life comes out of, right? All life comes out of a womb. You cannot go to the spirit world or come out of the spirit world unless you go through stages, right? And I will explain the stages. You see me here, I'm a fully formed human being. But at one point, I was a single sperm.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had to travel a great distance, and I had to go through a process. And in that process, the food that my mother consumed, whatever it be rice, cassava leaf, potato grains, whatever she was eating when I was in the womb, all of that was used as material to build this body. Until this day, every food that I've eaten is what's been used to build this body. So this body doesn't belong to me. This body is a food body. It's made of food, right? When you don't eat, you start to see the body starts to shrink. When you experience famine, your ribs start showing, right? Your bones don't shrink, but your flesh begins to die. And this is called famine. We see those Africans who experience famine and all their ribs is showing. So we come out of the spirit world in the smallest form, right? So when people think of the spirit world, they think of the spirit world as a place where beings exist in the large form. No, beings exist in the spirit world in the smallest form. The form is so small, you cannot comprehend it. I'll give you an example. Have you've ever taken a plane, Sister Shanice, to travel?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And when you reach 10,000 feet and you look at the ground, can you see the people?
No, not at all.
And you see the houses, the cars?
No.
You see nothing. Everybody's smaller than an ant.
Mm.
Everybody's smaller than an ant. Even the tall buildings, the tall trees, the giant trees, the redwood trees, what do you call that African tree? The baobab trees are all the size of an ant. And you are even smaller. And the ant below you is even on the ground is even smaller. And the one that is smaller than the ant is even smaller. Do you understand what the spirit world now looks like? It is a world that goes smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you pierce through the veil and go to the other side, and there is another universe on that side of the veil, right? And when you're coming out of that, you come in the form of a small energy, tiny energy. And that tiny energy is going to go through the mountains, the ocean, until a human being eats it. And the man is going to eat it. That man is going to produce something called the sperm, right? That small energy. That energy will be released, and that energy will enter the womb, into the egg, and that energy will begin to cause cravings in the woman. And the woman will begin to consume until the baby reaches 8 or 9 pounds. And then that baby, once it's complete, its cycle is complete, the baby will be released. And that baby will eat until they're 6 foot tall, right? Until we call them men and we call them women. This is life. This is the spirit world. It's not something where there's magic and all those type of stuff. The way to go to the spirit world is to become the smallest atom. And the way to come out of the spirit world is to come out smaller. Now, what we talk about the universe out there, all you have to go is 10,000 feet and the earth becomes, everybody on the earth becomes small. Even the person with the biggest ego, even the president of America is like a size of an ant. And now when you leave the earth is like a size of an ant compared to the sun. The sun is smaller compared to the planet Sirius, the star Sirius. So the universe looks like that. That's how it looks. Now, when you come into one part of the universe, you come out in the womb. When you go back to the spirit world, you go through the womb. So that when we dig a hole in the ground and we put your body in that, in ancient Africa, that's called the womb, right? So you go back to the womb. You give back the minerals and you take back the small part of you that you brought, that small essence. And that essence is the part of you that goes into the beyond, the infinite. So the only way to go into back to die is to go through the womb, is death, and the only way to come back to life is the womb. So this is what we call the Ankh. The Ankh is life and death, reincarnation. The elephant is the womb. In Kemet, the place where they gave birth from, where the Nile, where the creator of human beings lived, is called Elephantine, the island Elephantine. Elephantine was called the womb of Khanum, where all Africans, before the civilization emerged. There is a womb in Africa, it's called Nyalubali in Kenya. The Arabs could not pronounce the word Nyalubali, so they came up with the word Alkabulan. The Arabs started to say Alkabulan. In African language, there's no such thing as Alkabulan. We don't have Al. Al is not part of our native language. It's an Arabic word. Al-Madi, Al-Mumin, Al-This, that's Arab. Then we have the word Ki, right? Ki is Rukia. Munmi, the Ki is in their language. In African language is Nyalu Bali, the mother of the gods. The river, what the Europeans came, they saw it and they changed the name to Lake Victoria. When the Europeans came, they saw that water where the Africans who had emerged originally in the distant creation, they changed the name of that water to Queen Victoria. The water did not belong to Queen Victoria. The pool of creation did not belong to Queen Victoria. It belonged to the woman who used to rule that land, right? Maybe her name was Nyalubali, but Nyalubali means the mother of the gods. So the womb is the elephant and the Ankh, and so I will show you. This is Elephantine, where the three gods live: Khanum, Satis, and Anuket. Anuket is abundance, cowrie shells. In the ancient time, the African people didn't use land as a source of wealth. They used the ocean as a source of wealth. During the time of our ancestors, the ocean was wealth. When the Europeans came, Africans used to use something called cowrie shells. The Europeans wanted to weaken their economy. They wanted to destabilize them. And so because cowrie shells was not valuable to them. It was valuable to the Africans, but the Europeans said, we will not trade with you with cowrie shells. You give us human beings, we give you our guns, we give you our this, our that, right? So the African people had to destroy their economical system, their cowrie shell system, in order for them to trade with the Europeans. They had to destroy their economical system. So the first thing the African people started doing is weakening their own economical power by giving the European gold, by giving the European copper, giving him human beings. The European now started to weaken the African people's connection to cowrie shells, connection to independent economy, right? They were no longer completely refused to take cowrie shell. He went to China. The Chinese people used to trade in silk. He didn't refuse to trade in silk. He didn't do that because the Chinese people didn't care. But in Africa, we accommodated him. We did. And so he destabilized the African people economy system. Human beings were traded for guns and all that silly stuff. And the African people started to lose what we call sovereignty. Sovereignty. So Anuket refers to the wealth of the ocean. the conch shell, everything that the ocean provides. That's Anuket. Before her time, Africans did not consider the land as a source of, like, how do you call it, raw material. They considered the land as a source of agriculture, for food, for medicine, but they did not see it as a place to extract raw material. They saw the ocean as the place of wealth. When the Europeans came, that became reverse. The Africans stopped seeing the ocean as a place of wealth. They started to see the land as a source of wealth. So gold now started to take front stage. Minerals started to take front stage. And the African people's sovereignty started to weaken slowly. Let's go to the next slide. So the Ankh is called the key to life. It's the word for life. You all know this. I don't have to tell you, right? Is the symbol of life, the soul, the afterlife, or the birth, all of that, right? So it's a key, right? Now, I will show you, this is a womb, and this is an elephant. They call this a fallopian tube right here, right? I think that's what they call it. I'm not sure that's what the name, but they call this some kind of tube. And you see the elephant trunk, they parallel. The same ridges they have is exactly the same. So our ancestors were not fools when they said the elephant is the womb and the womb is the elephant. They didn't make it up. They knew what they were talking about, right? So in Ghana, the place you call Ghana, when kings wear the elephant around their neck. Kings wear the elephant around their neck. You see this king, elephant around his neck. See this king, elephant around his neck. You see the ivory tusk? Africans use the elephant because the king sits on the womb. His throne is called the womb. His throne is not like so-and-so, it's the womb, right? Because in Africa, it's a matriarchal society. It was a matriarchal society until it became a patriarchal society. Initially, the womb was considered the throne. So there's the womb of the grave, there's the womb of birth, and there's the womb a man sits on to rule or to govern. So that's why the kings wear this thing. And if you see the next slide, look at the throne. Can you see the throne, Sister Shanice?
Yes, I'm looking at the throne.
What is he sitting between?
Yeah, two great elephant tusks.
And look at this other king in another country. And look behind this king or prime minister, another elephant, right? So look at this king in Uganda, sitting between elephant tusk, right? This is an elephant tusk. So this, the Carthaginian, the one they call Hannibal Barca, the one who went to wage war against Rome to defeat Rome, he rode elephants. He rode elephants to the gates of Rome to destroy Rome because they believed Rome was a threat to humanity. The problem with the African at that moment when they had the power to destroy Rome, because of some silly spiritual, oh, we got to be noble, we got to be this, we got to be that, all type of foolishness, he could have destroyed Rome, but he hesitated. He started getting all kind of emotions in his heart and, oh, we can't go, they will destroy women and children, blah, blah, blah. And when he started to think like that, the Romans came to his country, learned his secrets, went there and went to Massinissa of Numidia, which was this wannabe king, this guy who wanted to be Hannibal. He wanted to have Hannibal's power. He wanted to marry a white woman. He wanted to be a part of the Roman Empire. So Massinissa colluded with the Romans, the person who they call Scipio Africanus, the one who took the name Africanus, but it's not. His name was Publius Scipio something. He took this relationship, and Hannibal used the same technique with the elephants, taught them he gave them the secret of how to defeat the elephant. Light the pigs on fire and send the pigs to the elephant, and the elephant will lose their presence, and the elephant will tumble, and the pigs will we can charge in and kill them. And so Hannibal was defeated. Hannibal retreated to Syria, and Hannibal grew old and he died, and the African people went back into the continent. They lost their sovereignty. And the Romans did not have the same pity on the Africans. They went to Spain, España, the capital of Carthage, and they destroyed everything. Everyone, everything they could find, the culture, they erased it. They created so much propaganda after that to make people hate Carthage, for Carthage to be erased from the history of humanity. And so the last African sovereignty was wiped out. And so the African people lost their connection to the elephant. Europeans came in the 1400s, started killing the elephant, shooting them, punching a hole in their head. You're not supposed to kill an elephant in Africa. It is the symbol of our power. It is the symbol of our sovereignty. Kings sit between the elephant throne. They sit on an elephant throne. In the time of our ancestors, the elephant was the most mighty creature our ancestors encountered. At first, they thought the lion was the most mighty creature. And then the elephant showed them that it feared no one, right? And our ancestors went for the mightiest being, and they said this being will be the symbol of our sovereignty. And so the Europeans came and they hunted the elephant during the 1400s. They hunted during the 1600s. They hunted during the 1700s, the 1800s, gradually destroying the spiritual power of African sovereignty. And by the time the Africans were done with their, whatever they were doing, they opened their eyes, their sovereignty was gone. And here is the result of their sovereignty. Europeans sitting on a throne of ivory while the Africans' men are in the state of inertia. Can you see the picture?
Yes.
Can you see the throne of ivory?
Yes, indeed.
Those are reserved for kings, emperors. And you see who's sitting in the middle of the throne. And you see the faces of the men at the bottom of this throne. Look at their eyes. Look at their face. Look at their body.
Totally
So
defeat
sovereignty was gone. It has to be restored. There's no way for the African people to go until they restore their sovereignty. So the things I'm telling you, it sounds, how do you call it? Strange, because it's not something typical knowledge that we hear. But this, when people talk about ancestors, people talk about, I know my ancestors, I'm connected to the ancestors. You can say you're connected to them. You can say you know them. But to truly know them is to understand how they live, the symbols they used, and then why they chose those symbols. You can't kill an elephant in Africa. No one is supposed to kill an elephant. Europeans are not supposed to come and hunt and pay money to hunt an elephant because they are hunting the king. They're hunting the king. They're hunting the emperor. And African people, the only symbol we have to prove our power is that symbol. It's that symbol. It's connected to the divine. It connects us through existence. It is the Ankh itself. So when you tell people to kill the Ankh, to shoot the Ankh, can you go to India and kill a cow? No. Cannot kill a cow because Vishnu has an incarnation that is a cow. Can you go to Arabia and kill a camel? No, because the Arabs hold camels sacred. Can you go to China and kill a panda? No, because the Chinese hold the panda sacred. You cannot do none of these things. African people do not care about the elephant. The elephant is just, to them, is just a nuisance. It's just something that wanders around in the bush and does things and so and so. No, that elephant is your throne. It is the sovereignty of the whole landmass. If for us to sit on thrones of ivory, for us to give each other ivory and disconnect from the animal which provides the ivory, and disconnect from the animal which represents the womb. For you to talk about the womb, but then forget the animal which represents the womb. That is, imagine you meet a woman. I love this woman cooking, but I hate her. I can't stand her. But she cooked that good food, so I'm gonna, like, you see that kind of sickness, right? You want her to eat her cooking, but you don't like her, you hate her. You don't want to protect her, you don't want to do nothing for her. So this is how our relationship with nature. Nature can see us. Nature is watching us. Nature can hear us. Nature can smell us. Nature can taste us every time we die and they put us in the soil. Nature knows everything that we know. But nature is not a fool to come to the rescue of people who trivialize their symbols, their totems. So the elephant is the highest totem in Africa. It is the throne itself. That's why you see the Ankh all over the pyramid walls. Everywhere you turn, Ankh, 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 Ankh. In India, they call it, what is it called? There's an elephant god named Ganesha, right? So because the elephant god is called the remover of all obstacles, the Indians do not kill elephants. They coexist with the elephant. They don't kill cows, they don't kill elephants, because those are symbols that are sacred to them. But when the European came, we let those people hunt the elephant, do whatever they want, hauling ivory to drag it to Europe and all that stuff for the sake of, that is how we lost our sovereignty. That is why the spirit world stopped looking at us like that. So I'm going to stop here with all this dramatic stuff and let you come in.
Well, we are at the top of the hour now, so we're normally wrapping up at this time, but we'll continue maybe just for 5 or 10 minutes more. Thank you so much for that. It's quite a story, a very sad story, really, because it's a reminder of how low we've fallen. Because as I was speaking, as you were speaking there, you reminded me of something I often said, and it's that that the planet itself is awaiting us as its protectors to wake up and to realize the role that we have, the important role that we have here on this planet. And we need to wake up sooner rather than later. And when I talk about, our role as the protector of the planet, it's also not just to protect the planet and the environment and the minerals and everything else, but it's to protect the animal kingdom, to protect the marine life, to protect the insect world. All of nature's creation is waiting on us, the rightful protectors of the land, to wake up and to resume our position, because there are those that we live amongst whom we can see their agenda is to destroy the planet, to destroy the planet and all the living creatures and everything on it, including the elephant. And I suppose for them, when they kill the elephant and our huge animals, it's a trophy for them, isn't it? Because, their psyche is to kill, to destroy, to murder, to violate. That is their nature. Our nature, as you described when you was talking about Hannibal, and the decision that he made not to slaughter and sack the land, was because his humanity prevented.
No, Hannibal was wrong. Hannibal made a poor choice. He was wrong.
He did. I agree with you on that. Yeah. But his humanity, it was his humanity that prevented him from murdering and slaughtering those men, women, and children. And history would have been very different until today, obviously, had he done so. But remember also, very importantly, as part of that story, and thank you for sharing that story, there was something in there that I didn't know, and that was about the pigs rolling towards the elephant. I'd missed that bit of the story before. But just to mention as well that they couldn't beat Hannibal. It was the Namibians, the Africans, that those jealous Africans who was jealous of Carthage and who was jealous of the power that Hannibal had, that sided with Scipio and his army and turned against Hannibal and didn't actually join Hannibal in the fight against the Romans, that led to Hannibal's defeat, and then what happened after that Namibian king died, that African king died? They took over his land. The Romans took over his land as well. So if Tunisia, if Carthage was Tunisia, is today's Tunisia, then it might have been Morocco that was the land of the Africans, the Namibians, that sided with Scipio to defeat Hannibal, which was then subsequently taken over by invaders as well. But we don't learn from our history. We continue to work alongside and side against our own people. I mean, look at what's happening in Sudan. Murdering and slaughtering and genociding out the indigenous people. Look at what's happening in the Congo. Look at what's happening in Cameroon and so many other places that we can talk about. So we need to learn from history. Wow, or we will make the same mistakes again. But yeah, you remind me of Queen Candice as well, who used to ride the elephants to battle, at the forefront. She was at the forefront of the army as well, straddled across 2 elephants on her throne to meet the Romans.
So let me add something. I read in a comment, somebody said that the leopard was the symbol of authority. The leopard is not a symbol of authority. The leopard is an executioner. It's the symbol of the executioner, judgment, right? So let's say if Africans were going to pass judgment and they were decided they were going to go be an executioner, right? They would embody the leopard, right? So the leopard is not a king. Someone wearing a leopard skin is not a king, right? That person, a king is an elephant, right? That's what you are, an elephant. The leopard is a general, a military commander going to executioner. Someone who is going to do this?
Is that likely to differ from one country to the next, do you think? Because obviously...
No, because the original symbols of Africa was one. The people changed the symbols after they broke apart. After they stopped being united, they became disunited. They created their own meaning to every symbol so they could distance themselves from each other, so they could be unique. They wanted to be unique from each other. So like before, they were one people and they ruled the world, and everybody looked at them as the rulers of the world. But they had secret societies. Everybody had a secret society. Everybody had their own techniques, their own systems. And so they grew like, they didn't want to share their system with each other. They wanted to keep it restricted. So it's like I have food and you are coming to my house and I don't want to share my food with you. So I decide to do some extreme things to keep you from partaking in that food. So they started to isolate themselves from each other. They started to make, in a way, create division amongst themselves so that their system could be more unique than the other. And so when one person, like African people, when one person doesn't move, it's not flexible, the other African will say, I'm not going to be flexible. And the other Africans say, well, I'm not going to be flexible. Before you know it, they will all go, they will change everything around, they will redecorate things, and then they will pretend like they didn't know each other before. They were not one people before. They were all unique and they were all special. They were not unique, they were not special, they were one people before. So there are 42 houses or palaces in Kemet, 42. Every one of them governed a particular school over there. They were part of a particular secret society. Some of them were in the Khaldoon Valley, Mesopotamia. They had initiation systems. Some of them went to India, but they were all one until they stopped being one, until they started to say, well, my school is better, right? My philosophy is different. And that was what caused them to become divided. Today in Nigeria, the Igbos are black. The Yorubas are black. The Hausa are black. But they are determined that they're different from each other, right? They are.
Idiot, something that.
So in their
religion has divided us. The different nationalities have divided us. You know, our cultural differences have divided us, and our enemies are working against us to use those differences to, you know, exacerbate those divisions, and it's causing mayhem. But, you know, as we have to remind our family on the continent who are tuned in, first and foremost, we are Africans. First and foremost, we are one people. Yeah. When we come as a seed from out of the universe, I thought it was really interesting, actually, you know, that you said it's like there's little microbes that are floating around, and then when you swallow it, that creates the spirit that then, you know, gets into the sperm. Interesting. Yeah. And go ahead. Do you want to add?
African people are one people, my sister.
Yes,
they had one queen before. The only reason that we have different languages today or different African variation of the same language, there was an original language which they spoke, probably some kind of Ifa language, the original language. And there was a famine on the African continent. There was a drought, a great drought. They say Ra was punishing them.
The Sahara dried up, didn't it?
Yes, it caused the Sahara to dry up. It caused the Namibian desert to ocean to dry up as well. So the two great oceans of Africa dried up during that thing. So the Africans went in search of vegetation, plants, seeds. So this is the story they tell you about Isis going to search for the body parts of Asar, right? And they say Isis went to look for the body parts of Asar. That is it's a symbolism for the Africans went in search of vegetation and seeds. They scoured all of Africa to go look for seeds. And when they all went, they became separated from each other. That was how African people became divided. And then when the Pharaoh Menes, after his mother passed away, he took over this happened long ago before even people talk about Egypt, way before this stuff, right?
Give us an approximate idea of the timeline that you're.
It, I will say, is over 100,000 years, maybe more.
Much further back than I thought you would.
Y'all, that stuff they be telling you about 5,000 BC, 3,000, that's fake. That's all nonsense, foolishness.
I agree. They definitely collapse in time when it comes to our history. Yeah.
No, they're liars. They don't know. They do that because if they knew that if we knew that we had hundreds and hundreds of thousands of history before them, it would not be well. They would not be able to convince us that we are less.
That's right. That's right, because they've only been around for about 6,000 years. So, you know, that's why, as far as they're concerned, that's when the world started. But no, we've been around possibly for millions.
Too long. So I'm just saying that we were not divided. We were originally just a one people. Then that when Ra brought the energy and dry out the waters of the African continent, dry out the waters, the African people became divided. And so it's not a bad thing that we have diversity, but the idea is our mandate is still the same mandate. It never changed. Protect Africa, defend Africa, protect the animals.
Protect the world. Remember, we as Africans, we had actually migrated and populated the entire planet. And I think that our role on this planet is to protect the entire planet, the animal kingdom, the marine life, as I said, the insect world. They're all waiting on us, you know, the rightful rulers, the rightful leaders, to take back our position, to save the planet. Otherwise, it's going to be totally destroyed. And I sincerely believe that. Wow, we have gone well over, but it was certainly worth it. I know there's so much more inside of you that you would love to pour into us. But, you know, you've done an incredible job today. You've taken us on quite a journey, you know, from pre-existence, from pre-embodiment through to, you know, the embodiment, the symbolisms, you know, of the ankh and the elephant and the fallopian tubes and the importance of the elephant, you know, during times of old. But it's not that I think that, you know, we no longer care about the elephant. I think we've forgotten about the importance of the elephant. And I think that knowledge has been, you know, removed from our psyche. And so this is why what you are teaching us today is so, so important, because you're bringing it back to our remembrance and you're making us realize how important the elephant is. And if we knew that, then you wouldn't have Africans in Uganda and Kenya and Zimbabwe and places like that accompanying Europeans to go and shoot elephants for sport. And you wouldn't have poachers shooting elephant for their tusks so that the Chinese can use it for medicine or whatever else they want it for. But because we've lost our memory, which is something that you've spoken to us about before, because we've lost our memory of who we are and the rightful position that we ought to have on this planet, this is why, you know, until we remember and we start putting back, you know, we start revering and practicing all of the sacred ritual that we used to, and start protecting the animal kingdom and you know, giving them the respect that they deserve, until we start taking care of nature again, nature will continue to destroy us, I suppose. So family, it's time to wake up to everybody in the chat. You know, thank you so much for staying with us. Thank you so much for your comments. Sister Afrijamo for trying to get the likes up. Thank you so, so much. Everybody who's watching, if you haven't already given us a like, please do. That's not going to cost you anything. Please do give us a like and rise up. There was someone in the chat that says, something like another great show, and I've given you a thumbs up and a like. Thank you so much for that as well. Let me just put my glasses on, see if there's any last comments that I want to bring in. Sherilyn, rise up, just coming in to watch the replay. Welcome, Sherilyn. Great to have you in the house. Sherilyn was on the Dr. Winter's research program with me and doing amazing work out there as well in her field. Rise up, Brother Norman. I think you're the Norman watching us from Jamaica. Great to have you in the house. Says, what's that? Camps crafting is still practiced in certain places in Africa. It was common to roam the seas of canoes. Oh, canoes. Yeah, oh, definitely. And we used to sell the monsoon winds, you know, talking about nature. We knew the wind, the same wind that the birds take, you know, at the same time as the year that takes them around the world. We would jump into our boats that we would, you know, cut down those huge trees and dig out and make and set up sail and go sailing around the world. Yeah, the Phoenicians were known as great, great sailors, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of years ago, possibly hundreds of thousands, as we're saying today. Brother Mitree, Teacher Mitree, wake up. You seem to drop asleep when I'm talking. Tut, tut. Anyway, thank you one more time.
I heard every word you said.
Yeah, you're listening with your ears, not your eyes. Okay. All righty. Well, thank you again so much. We look forward to you joining us again on the Sister Shanice Show. And family, you can get this marvelous teaching on my sister channel, the African World Affairs sister channel. And you've got a website.
The African World Affair link in the chat so they can see it. Can you put that channel link so they can just click on it and go subscribe now?
Okay, let me quickly try and find it. So once you're in YouTube, family, what you do is you do the @ sign, okay? And once you've done the @ sign, you just do African World Affairs.
I will look it up. Let me find it and put it in the chat, okay? Hold on.
Okay, fantastic. Let's do that before we log off. And here it is. I got it here. So first of all, I'll give you the @ sign.
You got it?
Yeah, I've got it. Let me just copy that.
Yeah, put it in the
please,
comments.
everyone, go and sign up, because I didn't think I was going to be able to log on today. And if I wasn't able to go live on this channel, I would have been going live on my sister channel, African World Affairs, okay? And so only those of you who are subscribed would have got that notification. Okay, let me find you now on YouTube over here so that I can add you. Here it is. Okay, so yeah, only those of you who are subscribed to the channel would have got the notification. So please do make sure that you go over there and subscribe to the channel. There it is at African World Affairs. Now let me find the full link for you as well. Let me give you the full link. Yeah, if you're not already a subscriber, do go over to that channel and hit that subscribe button so that if you don't catch me on the Sister Shanice Show platform, you can catch me on the African World Affairs platform. And right now, you can catch Teacha Mitree and a series that he's doing for us on that platform. Formidable teachings, as you've heard today. And the more we hear from you, Teacha Mitree, the more we will get it. The more we will get everything that you are teaching us. Okay, so keep up the great works. Don't despair. The works of the ancestors will be realized. It will come to pass. Ashe, ashe, ashe. To the one who comes in peace. Thank you.
You gotta say that greeting to me now. So we'll put our hands together and you're gonna say the full greeting, okay?
What's the full greeting? I'll repeat
the one
after
who comes in peace is always welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. And the ones who come to learn are especially always welcome.
The one who comes in peace is welcome. The one who comes to teach is always welcome. And the one who comes to learn is especially welcome. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Thank you, family. Sister Shanice and Brother Mitree, out of here for now. More love, more strength, more Buddha power. Hey.